It is now time for our Master Board open session meeting. Here now is our Board President, Bob Walter.
Welcome to the August 23rd open session board meeting. Would everybody please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we begin, we have a good turnout today. I wanted to advise everybody that the open session for comments is going to be strictly adhered to because we have like over 25 people that wanted to speak. So it's going to be 3 minutes. He'll be keeping time and he'll be notifying everybody. So when he lets you know, try and conclude it within that. It's important that you conclude it within the 3-minute time period. Thank you for that. Executive session acknowledgement, announcement, and executive general manager report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board and community. Welcome this evening or this afternoon. First, on my report, I'm going to address some of the questions from the last open session. So I'll begin. Question one, a member had one question. The member requested that the pool monitors return to the main pool. I want to advise everyone here, if they haven't already seen, the board approved placing a monitor at the main pool Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have started last Friday. We have partnered with Securitas to provide a monitor and the expectation of what that monitor needs to do. The monitor should be roving around, and Jason and I will be there to verify. They should be friendly to you. They should also, if a chair is out of place, put the chair back in. Not as I know I've worked with one member in the past who's been giving me information. They're not there to just sit there and text freely. So we will be monitoring that. I do want to acknowledge that member that there is pool monitors will be returning. And it will run through September 4th is when we'll have it. Okay, another member had a question, brought up concerns about the lack of cleaning the pool deck, chairs, and tables. And this has been brought to the attention of the Recreation Department, and we will be prioritizing cleaning the pool areas, gyms, tennis courts, pickleball courts. They need to be maintained, and Jason and I will be working to monitor to ensure that this work is done by the Recreation Department. There are some additional questions. A member felt the community was excluded from meetings, and the member cited the Open Meeting Act. Well, under Civil Code Section 4935, the executive session items are as follows, and this is related to what's executive and what's not. So under that, under A, the board may adjourn to or meet solely in executive session to consider litigation, matters relating to the formation of contracts with third parties, member discipline, personnel matters, or to meet with a member upon the member's request regarding the member's payment of assessments as specified in Section 5665. Number B, the board shall adjourn to meet solely in executive session to discuss member discipline if requested by the member who is the subject of the discussion. That member shall be entitled to attend the executive session. C, the board shall adjourn to or meet solely in executive session to discuss payment plan pursuant to Section 5665. The board shall adjourn to or meet solely in executive session to decide whether to foreclose on a lien pursuant to subdivision B of Section 5705. E, any matter discussed in executive session shall be generally noted in the minutes of the immediately following meeting that is open to the entire membership. Hence, while Jason's report is right after me to provide executive session actions updates. Further, items that, now before, there was a thing of unfinished business, new business. Items that were not finalized in one meeting were listed as unfinished business. Items that were new to the agenda were classified as new business. Now the board has modified the executive session to remove those words to avoid confusion in the future. Another question regarding the 2023 election, the member asked if anything was being done to address a delegate voting differently or why no votes were cast for District 8. The board will not take any action regarding the delegate voting. Ultimately, this falls on the members of the district to vote. If members fail to vote, they leave a decision to their delegate period. Kind of what goes on with the state and federal level as well. Further, the Second Amendment to the bylaws, which was approved in 2008, that a district without an elected or appointed delegate that does not reach quorum will not be able to submit voting instructions. In this case, there was no delegate or alternate for District 8, and there was not quorum reached in that district to submit votes. Key lesson, vote please. It's an election. Okay, number 4, 3 questions. A member expressed concerns with cash. Now I have stated, along with some former FAC members, cash flow is a timing issue. That's a shout out to Ron Varner, who has expressed this many times as the interim treasurer, but also as a FAC member. The association has cash to meet its obligations. Some might remember, Treasurer Linda Spalding provided a report to the community at the November 2021 delegate meeting explaining this issue. Now, the question about cash, Jason, throw up the thing there quick. I do not believe the members looking at the balance sheet as a whole. Remember, in the thing, you have to look at the whole story, not just one chapter of it. Now, we use, and I've talked to the FAC about this in the board, and this is what I've used in my financial career, is a current ratio, which is the current assets divided by current liabilities. You can evaluate the liquidity of a corporation. Very simple ratio. Ajit uses it all the time when he's evaluating corporations to invest in. I know that. But the current ratio between a 1.5 or 3 is considered good. Now let's look at, and I didn't bring the pointer, Jason, I'm sorry. But if you look at December 31st up there, and mind you, this is from the manager report as a quick plug. I produce a manager report monthly. We did that before the pandemic, and I'll continue to do it. And as things come up from members, from committees, I tweak the report to present more information. I will be adding the current ratio to this so that members see what I'm seeing. If you look at the December 31st audit, those numbers in that column, December 31st, thank you for the lights in the back, that is from the audit. You can get the audit online. The audit is done by a third party hired by the board to check the numbers. Now you'll look there that the association has cash investments and receivable of $2.4463 million. I want to jump up there and point at it, Jason, but I'm hoping members can see it. This is online as well. But nonetheless, current ratio looks at current assets, which is cash investments and receivables that could be converted within a year's period. Awesome. That is right about there, I think. Little fuzzy. Now, and members may have noticed, and maybe they thought I was trying to be funny, is that I've had this salmon color on the past reports to the community. Haven't put any notes. I just put it there to put it, and shame on me for not going further to explain what the heck. Maybe Chris is colorblind. He didn't realize he was doing that. You got to look at the other side of the ledger, the liabilities. Yes, there's cash, but look at the liabilities. There's accounts payable and accruals, and of that, let's see, that a total of 1.863. You got to take into account the AP, but look at what's in salmon. That's a due to other fund. That's a liability that has to be paid back to capital improvement, repair and replacement fund. At the end of 2018, when the numbers were calculated, yes, you had cash, but you had obligations to pay at that year end. You have to take a look at the whole picture. So when you do that and look at the current ratio, that's a 1.31. It's right there at the bottom. Now, remember what I just said earlier? 1.5 to 3 is good. Above 1 is good, definitely. But 1.5 is better. Now you look at June 30 financials, here in yellow. Cash, investments, and receivable, 1.219407. That's the sum of everything in green. And again, I'll put this online just for your enjoyment at home. Yes, when you need to sleep at night, Denny. You also then look at $944,633, which is your liabilities. Look, there are no due to other funds. That was addressed by the board 2021 saying, no, we need to go a different direction. We need to do something different. But you look at the ratio now, at the bottom right there, and that ratio is 1.29. What that kind of shows, if you're just looking at a quick the current ratio, 1.29, 1.31 in 2018, very similar to where we were in 2018. Demonstrates almost at the same point financially in position, we're in the same spot. Now, I will agree, if you look at 2021, 2020, they're below 1. There was some problems. Again, please go back and look at Treasurer Linda Spalding when she was the treasurer. She did a report to the delegates saying what happened in 2019, decisions made. I've also done a presentation in Admin Update, March of 2023, explaining decisions made in the food and beverage operations. Look at that, tied with the pandemic. We did get bad below 1. We have started coming out of it. Again, timing issue of cash. We do have the cash to meet our obligations when presented. It's there. Just look at the financials. Just look at the numbers. Now, as Linda stated in 2021, I just said that, admin update, 2019 and 2020 were the years they impacted the association negatively. Decisions made on whether the restaurant should be open, closed, remodeling, pandemic, whether it should have been closed earlier, closed later. Nonetheless, those 2 years hurt, and we've had to build out of that back to a better financial situation. Now, the 2023 board is continuing this plan and reviewing revenue options and controlling expenses. Now, next, the member questioned why the board is negotiating with First Service. The board has stated they wish to renegotiate the 4-year-old contract. The board has the authority to do that. They're elected officials by you. The board can do that. Next question. The board has stated, member then asked why the board is not holding First Service accountable for food and beverage budget. Again, as I stated in the March 2023 admin update, there were several factors that were contributing to the overrun in the food and beverage 2023 budget. The board is working with First Service to finalize a business plan and move away from the past sole priority of just customer service. The plan, if approved by the board, will focus on reducing costs and increasing revenues. Ajit has done presentations on that saying focus should be on revenues. Ron Varner's talked about it, I've talked about it, and this board is working to look at ways to increase the revenue while reducing cost. That completes the question segment of my report. Now we're going to have a presentation by the Vice President of the board, and then I'll continue my GM updates.
Thank you. You just made it under 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Over the last 6 months or so, there's been a lot of concerns in the community talking about, quite frankly, I interpret it as a lot of people not understanding what we do as a community, what we do as a board. So the board and I have put this together to just kind of give some information about exactly how we operate, why we operate how we do, and so forth. So just starting it off, I'm not going to read everything word for word. You're going to be able to see it. But we are a representative organization, meaning the board is elected to represent you. That's what we do, just like happens in Washington, D.C. and Sacramento. We as citizens of the state of California, to use a line I heard recently, don't get to decide what color that goes into the carpet goes into the Capitol building. You might get some input through your representative by writing an email, fine. But ultimately, those types of decisions are what you have elected a board for. So go ahead and switch, Jason. One of the other recent concerns was the delegate elections. As Chris just mentioned, under the CC&Rs, everything that happened in District 1, which is item number 1 down there, within the CC&R, the delegate was able to vote as she saw fit. There was no quorum in this district, so she was able to vote. That was done properly. District 8, as Chris mentioned with the amendment, District 8 had no quorum, nor no delegate or alternate. Therefore, there was no way within our governing documents for those votes to count. It's really as simple as that. And as I note at the bottom, for those that continue to contend these facts, a CC&R change would be required to not allow this in the future. talking about the financial accounts. I know there's been a lot of talk. Chris just covered some very important specifics. I'm going to talk generalizations. We have 3 separate financial accounts: an operating account, reserve account for repair and replacement fund, and reserves for capital improvement fund. The operating account is funded through assessments as outlined in the budget. This account is used to fund all operating aspects of Sun Lakes Country Club. This includes utilities, service contracts, payroll, etc. Money from these assessments that are earmarked for the operating account is only used from this account. Repair and replacement fund is used exactly how the name states. The fund is funded by a set amount established in the annual budget in our monthly assessments. Every piece of equipment has a rated lifespan. That chair you're sitting in has an 8-year lifespan, okay? At the end of 8 years, the board at that time will evaluate, I doubt it's going to be me, will evaluate whether or not it needs to be replaced and going through the entire process. This happens with every physical entity in here, including painted walls. This is what the repair and replacement fund funds, and it is funded through a portion of your monthly assessment. And it cannot be used for new amenities, new venues, etc. The capital improvement fund, which we have been spending some of that money on certain new projects, and one major project, once we get all the numbers, we will have them, but we don't have them yet, will be the lounge expansion. The capital improvement fund was initially discussed in 2010 and 2011, and it was implemented by the board in 2012. For 8 years, ending in 2019, the budget, in the 2019 budget, the social membership fee paid, that's that $950 that most of you remember paying when you moved into the community, was directed to the fund. In addition, during this time, a portion ranging from $2 to $5 per month during that time was collected that went directly to the capital improvement fund from your monthly assessment. Money in this account cannot be used for anything except new builds, new amenities, etc. It cannot be used within the operating fund or the repair and replacement fund. That's just for clarity. And for clarity, since it ended in 2019, 2019 was the last time any money came out of any assessment or any membership, or social membership fee that was put into the capital improvement fund. Let's see, sorry. I've got front and back here.
Jason,
I'm all
he's ready
mixed
for the
up.
next slide.
Yeah, go to the next slide. Committees, sorry.
You got it.
Got it. I've got the wrong copy here. Got it, I got it now. Oh, good. Formation of committees. Whether they are done, homeowners do not have the right to appoint themselves to committees. On rare occasions, governing documents provide for election within that. So the reason I bring that up is committees are determined by the board of directors. Committees are put together by the board of directors. Additionally, does the removal of a volunteer from a committee fall under personnel issues to be discussed and decided? Under the davissterling.com website, it answers that. The answer is, and can it be decided in executive session? The answer is yes. Committee staffing issues are quasi-personnel. So as you can see on there, directors need to be very careful if they are doing a personnel or quasi-personnel issue. So that is why if we have to deal with a committee, it is done in executive session. Next one, is it possible to vote a member off a committee if he or she works against the committee and gives out inaccurate information? Again, this is directly from davissterling.com. The key thing I want to point on here is, yes, they can be removed from the committee, and they serve at the pleasure of the board. And now we're talking budget. With 2 notable exceptions, monthly assessments paid by each homeowner is the financial means with which the Sun Lakes Country Club derives revenue. The 2 exceptions are golf shop operations and food and beverage department. Both golf shop mouth got dry. Both golf shop operations and food and beverage are run as an amenity with a budgeted expense to the association. Currently, golf operations is running at better than budget, with food and beverage running below budget. The board has directed management in numerous ways, and we are currently running for 2023 $200,000 better than budget overall. Amenities, clarification of amenities. Although not all members use every amenity, they are available to all members. Amenities by design are paid for within the Sun Lakes Country Club monthly assessment, with expenses shared equally among all 3,327 homeowners. And all board members, district delegates, committee members are volunteers who live within Sun Lakes community. Each of these members has made a conscious choice to give up time to serve the community. And I'd like to thank all the volunteers within the community, and I hope this gives both of you out in the audience and on Channel 97 some information about how we operate. Thank you.
Before we turn it back to First Service for their report, I would like to mention that the board received some RFPs from the Financial Advisory Committee, and we have referred all the information and the RFPs to the Procurement Advisory Committee for their review, analysis, and recommendations. Now for a continued report from First Service.
Okay, I'll be very short on the GM updates. Staffing update. I'm here to report that Dario Puig is no longer employed by First Service. We will be recruiting that caught me off guard, I'm sorry. We will be recruiting a director of recreation. Boy, I just got caught off. Immediately. Right now, all inquiries regarding this matter should be made to me. Recreation-related inquiries, like events, room usage, that should be directed to Linda Vang and Jason Ewalls. Jason will return to helping out recreation until we can find a replacement for that position. So bear with Jason. His plate's getting bigger. He's getting out. He's getting out. Okay, the July manager report should be online next week. I apologize. We've been, the team and I have been focused on some other projects. We will be getting the July manager report out. And now I do have some reports from Mark Schleiden, give an update on some of the common area. I know there's been some concerns with trees, rubbish, etc. So Mark is going to give us an update on that.
Hello, everyone. There we go. Welcome, and go over the project and the update on that. First of all is Gate 1, entry and exit. Entry is completely up and running 100%. Exit side will be complete Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. It was treated also for mosquitoes yesterday. There's a slight bit of water in there. The road safety, that project was completed, and that was the signs that throughout the stop signs we added the flags. Some people like it, some people don't, but I love it. South Clubhouse Spa remodel. That's going to be the spa, the pool, and the deck. The board will have those proposals presented to them on September 13th, and they'll make a decision shortly thereafter. Sandwedge renovation is up and going. It's still on target for a September 11th Monday Night Football opening. The road project, spoke to the contractor this morning. That looks the end of September for District 7 and the 3 clubhouse stripings. Bocce ball, the covers for the courts. Patio Pro Daniel was at the city yesterday. He was turning in the drawings to receive the permits. So that is currently outstanding. And the tile in the South Clubhouse women's and men's showers, that was completed last week. And one last thing, Mark Birchfield, who couldn't be here this afternoon, asked that I thank each and every one of the volunteers that assisted in the cleanup on the golf course the other day. So he greatly appreciated it, as does the community. Any questions for myself? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This report will give the community an update on items that were taken, on actions that were taken by the board at their executive session meetings that were held on August 9th, August 11th, August 17th, August 21st, and August 23rd, at which time litigation, member discipline, formation of contracts, and personnel matters were discussed. With member matters, the board reviewed 5 show cause hearings. The board reviewed a member request for a fee waiver. The board reviewed 2 requests for a parking variance. The board reviewed a request for a golf variance. The board reviewed a member request. The board approved the F&B and golf receivables as of July 31st, as well as the assessment account receivables as of July 31st, 2023. The board approved the July 31st, 2023 delinquency report. The board reviewed a member request for a golf refund. The board met with the members of the master plan initiative. The board met with a member at the member's request. The board held interviews with the FAC members. The board reviewed a number of letters from members, and the board met with the community ambassador. With legal, the board approved the executive session minutes from July 31st, July 26th, and August 17th. The board received a number of updates from legal. The board approved the investment transaction report. The board approved to close a delinquent account and to send it to Coachella Valley Collections. The board approved to send the following account to the collections attorneys and to foreclose on the lien and record the notice of default on the following: APN 440-020-066, APN 440-083-008, and APN 419-293-001. And finally, with legal, the board reviewed and approved the payment of the 2022 taxes. With formation of contracts, the board received updates from the management company on several items. The board discussed the 2024 budget directives with management. The board met with FSR to discuss negotiating management contract. The board received and filed the July investment activity report. The board received and filed the project activity report. The board had a discussion on management services. The board reviewed and approved the July and August narrative and analytic reports from Securitas. Something new, both of those reports will be available online this time. So same place, community info, reports and forms, scroll all the way down, you will see both the narrative and analytic reports from Securitas. The board met and received updates from Jorge Perez from Bing Designs and architect Paul Collins regarding the lounge expansion. The board received updates on the Sandwich Bar construction. The board discussed directives to management from the F&B analysis. The board approved the use of a couple new vendors. The board reviewed and approved upgrading Sandwich AV equipment. The board approved to reupholster the lobby chairs to match the carpet and paint. The board approved to replace some dead plants on hole 14 contingent on the plant species. And finally, the board approved to have pool monitors from 9 to 3 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through Labor Day. And that completes the report of executive session actions.
Thank you. Next, we're fortunate enough to have Sherry Flynn from the city. She's going to give us a city report.
Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, I'm Sherry Flynn, and I'm your city council representative. And I apologize for not being here recently. Last month, I was actually in Maui. I have a timeshare there, and I was actually in Lahaina. We left on the 28th, and if you're familiar with Chemo's and Front Street, my daughter and I ate there our last night, and now everything is gone. And it's really hard to imagine, so please keep Maui in your thoughts and your prayers, and if you can donate to any of the many donation sites, please do that. We had our meeting last night. It went from 3:30 to about 11 p.m. And sometimes it's the last thing I want to do is come here and talk about city information, because this meeting's always the day after my city council meeting. But some important things. I know that West Nile virus is on everyone's mind. I was working directly with Michael Hernandez from Vector Control on getting information out. I did a PSA public service announcement for the city of Banning. You may have seen it on Good Day Sun Lakes or on Channel 97. And I just wanted to say that there was an adulterant sprayed, and it just affected flying insects. So one good thing is that, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but we have very few flies because it also killed the flies, which was a nice side effect of that. We really need to get our fountains going. Mr. Hernandez sent me a video of the day that they sprayed, and they went to one of the fountains by Gate 1, and they pulled up some water in a bucket, and there were larvae and pupae in there just loaded within there. If you do find something like that, I found a little pocket at my house in a little bit of a fountain at the top, and there were larvae in there. And so first I put bleach in. They didn't care about that. So then I went and I looked it up online, and then I put some dish soap in there, foamed that up, and then I took olive oil and poured it, and that's what finally did it. It smothers them almost immediately. So if you have any type of oil, mineral oil, olive oil, and you find something like that, use that. There's also those little packets you can get at Home Depot that you can throw in fountains that will stop the larvae from becoming mosquitoes. They're going to come out every 2 weeks. I guess they came out before that because of some of the fountains that are sitting. And he's going to keep in contact with me. You can also, if you wanted, you can get mosquito fish at the Hemet office, vector control office. They'll give them away to you for free. You probably wouldn't want that in a little fountain, but if you have a bigger pond, they multiply rapidly, and they then come out and harvest those, and that's how they get new mosquito fish to supply their, to resupply themselves. And you have to call Public Works if you have a problem. You cannot call vector control. And that, I can give you that number if you want, but it is Public Works, and you can see that on the website, but it's 951-922-3130. One of the things that has been a problem is the utility company. I'm on the Budget and Finance Committee, and it is 13 million in the red. It's dropped in 1 year, 9 million in the red from the beginning of this year. So, the general fund is now 3 million in the red. So they're doing a forensic investigation. And I met with the 2 forensic accountants today down at City Hall, one-on-one or two-on-one. I wanted to find out and make sure that they're going to do a deep dive and not just do something superficial. There were many things in the last 6 months that I found. It all led to the utility company that were questionable. And Lincoln Bogart, who is the administrative assistant, administrative director there, started looking into those, and he found the same thing, and he's the one that pushed for the audit. It's going to take about 10 days, and they're going to do a phase 1 first. If they find something that needs to go further, then they'll do phase 2. Another thing is City Manager Doug Schultz. This has been continued again from last night. This is the second time it's been continued, and it's an item to increase his signing authority from 25,000 to 100,000, and that means that the City Council would not have any say or approval in anything under 100,000. And the next meeting is September 12th. I encourage you all to go or write, because this would be a real disaster for our city, and especially with the situation it is. We don't need to have more money going out easily. The other thing is there's the EPAP. I had met with EPAP. It was very interesting, met for about an hour. They showed me everything, went through everything. They wanted to have some type of liaison with the city. So actually last night, and also with RCTC, I'm a commissioner on there, and they voted to get a grant from Strategic Growth Council. It's called the Community Resilience Center Program. And it's going to consist of outreach to the community, and it's also going to retrofit the California Army National Guard Armory, and that's at off Nicollet. and that will become a Community Resilience Center and Emergency Operations Center. So they're going to hire a consultant to do outreach. They're going to do infrastructure upgrades. This is a grant program. There's up to available funding for project development is 9.6. We're going to ask for 1.15. And anticipated award date is 2023. And since Banning is priority community for funding because it's based on medium household income and census tracts, and so we should get priority on that funding. And there's a collaborative stakeholder structure which will have community participants. And I noticed last night they listed about 8, but they did not list EPAB for Sun Lakes as being one of the participants. So I added EPAB to that and said, you know, they're a wealth of knowledge and very organized, and they could really help set this up. So they're going to add Sun Lakes EPAB onto the advisory committee. Okay, and then we also have Stagecoach Days, which are Saturday, September 9th. The parade starts at 10 a.m. and then there's a rodeo afterwards. And then the next city council meeting, like I said, is September 12th at 5 p.m. You can watch it on Channel 10. And if there's any questions, I'll take a couple questions. Well, I mean, EPAP asked me to try to get a connection and a liaison with the city, so that is it. That's for them to now take that and do whatever they have to do about it, but I wanted them on the list because they were not included. Whatever they need to do, I'm not really part of that. No, this would just be a liaison with the city when they set up their emergency center over there, which EPAP has been wanting them to set up for a long time from what I understand. So a coordination between the city and Sun Lakes through EPAP when we have any type of emergency, that does not exist right now.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next is sub-associations. Next is delegate assembly.
If I could just make an announcement, I don't think Joe is going to be attending our meeting. We understand he's been injured, so we will be following. Oh, but there's, didn't see you. Sorry about that. Go ahead, finish up. No, go ahead. You're
Good afternoon, board, administration members, and members. Well, I've never seen a crowd so big. Awesome. Dolores Doherty, District 4 Delegate and Vice Chair of the Delegate Assembly. As Chris started mentioning, Joe fell again on Monday and broke his other hip. He's at San Gorgonio Hospital right now, and I spoke to him earlier. He's doing well, and he asked me I asked him what he wanted me to mention today. I told him that I would bring up, because he suggested I do this. We had a closed session delegate-only meeting on August 11th, where there was going to be a vote to remove me or retain me as the vice chair, and the result is I will remain as vice chair. So, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next is past action report. Is that you? Yep. Okay.
The gentleman from our board that was scheduled to do this fell ill this afternoon, so I'm just going to make it short and sweet. We're still waiting on the court date of November 17th. That'll be with a hearing in front of the judge regarding the Banning Point project. And when that happens, we will let the community know what came out of it. So that's really all we've got going on right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bingo Advisory Committee. Common Area Advisory Committee. Doug?
pretty rare when I have to raise this. Common Area Advisory Committee, not a whole lot going on as far as everybody can see. Mark covered all the large items, the fountains and the cleaning of everything. The committee continues to look at this place, all the common facilities and grounds on a regular basis, and we report every month inspecting every little thing about each one of these places. But we're only 4 or 5 people, so if anybody has any questions or any comments or anything like that, please let us know so that we can take a look at it. We think we cover it all, but we never do. I'm sure there are gaps someplace along the line. I also want to take a moment to thank the staff and the board and all the volunteers for the last 3 or 4 days. I know that there are a lot of issues that took place in my area, and all of those were taken care of within moments, as a matter of fact. I reported something yesterday afternoon which I thought was going to take some time to get taken care of, and by the time I got home, it was already being addressed. So that just shows you how well run we are and how we get to the right spot when there is a situation that is a problem. So please let us know if you've got any input, and we will address it. Thank you.
Thank you. EPAP?
Good afternoon, board and residents and FSR. Today I'm going to talk about the Highland Fire. After the Highland Fire, the executive team held an event debriefing with Bob Walters, Randy Robbins, Mike Romero, Jason Ewalds, and Mark Schleiden. We then sent out surveys to all the EPAP coordinators to get their comments. At the district delegate meeting in July, we also asked the delegates to tell us about their experience during the fire. We identified that our biggest issue was poor communication between all the agencies and volunteers that participated. We also realized that many of our EPAP coordinators did not get on their radios or did not have knowledge of the fire. Mike Romero from Securitas identified in our meeting that they could have used help with crowd control. There were a number of residents that went to Breckenridge to take pictures of the fire. This impeded the fire trucks from getting to the areas where they needed to be to fight the fires. This also would have prevented residents from evacuating if that became necessary. The corrections that EPAP is making to resolve these issues are as follows. Bob Walters and Mike Romero will use radio contact with our Emergency Operations Center during the event to assure to keep each other informed. Through all available means, Sun Lakes and EPAP must remind residents to stay home, stay informed, and keep out of the way. CAL FIRE has agreed to contact the EPAP Emergency Operations Center when they arrive at Sun Lakes and set up a command post. We will provide them with one of our radios so they can keep us informed.
1 minute.
And update. Now you made me lose what I was reading. This is all your fault.
She gets 1 more minute.
You get 10 seconds back.
Thanks. We will provide them with one of our radios so they can keep us informed and update the status of the fires. EPAP has a new computer that we will set up to send text messages to EPAP coordinators and others as needed. The cell phone that we have does not text messages in large groups of people. We're looking how to work around this issue. Finally, EPAP volunteers, we need EPAP volunteers to help us manage events such as in our districts and EPAP operations. We will review our new activation procedures with the EPAP coordinators when we have our drill meetings starting the end of this month.
Great timing. Thank you. Next is the Finance Advisory Committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. Master Board, management team, fellow residents. My name is Mary Jo McElwain, and I'm the Vice Chair of the FAC Committee. We're responsible to review the internal financial statements and provide analysis and recommendations to the Master Board. We have an experienced group of former professionals in the management and accounting field that are working diligently to advise the board so that they can make the best decisions for our community. In the past weeks and months, we've accomplished two major items. We obtained information on 4 management companies, and we want to thank the board for their willingness to review the proposals we provided. They are forwarding these to the procurement committee, and we'll be happy to work with them. Our investment subcommittee brought to light the investment returns, and with that information, meetings were held with our management team, and our returns have improved significantly, and we will be scheduling the quarterly review with management. In addition to these accomplishments going forward, we have 3 new items. Establishing a monthly meeting with the board to review recommendations and directives for the Finance Committee. The 2024 budget is here. We have financial subcommittees who review the various categories, and we want to contribute to the budget review. And the third thing is working to develop an expanded project update to assist the board and management in monitoring and managing reserve expenditures. We also want to thank the management team for reestablishing the monthly management report for the board and the FAC. For those of you that don't know, the monthly financials are on the website, and there's also a monthly financial analysis by the Treasurer in Lifestyle magazine. If you have questions on any of the financials, the committee has open meetings every 3rd Wednesday at 2 p.m. in the multipurpose room, and all residents can attend.
1 minute.
We have a representative from the board and from management that may be able to answer your questions. Our next meeting is September 20th. Thank you.
Thank you. Golf Advisory, Mike?
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Callahan, Chairman of the Golf Advisory Committee. I would be remiss not to start by mentioning the weather event we all experienced last weekend. While the 4 inches of rain received was unusual, it was the high winds that caused most of the maintenance concerns on the golf course. Because of the amount of debris on the course and the maintenance required, getting the course ready for play was anticipated to take a week. Cleanup of the fairways was needed in order to allow the fairway mowers with their rotary cutters to operate without causing damage to the equipment. Thank you to Pete Peterson, who initiated a call to action. Late in the afternoon on Monday, the call went out, and by 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, we had over 50 golfers show up with rakes and garbage bags to pitch in and help out the maintenance crew. So thank you to everyone who spent Tuesday morning lending a hand and making Sun Lakes the great place it is. One of the GAC's important missions is to maintain the value of Sun Lakes 2 golf courses for the benefit of all homeowners. Many of our residents are not golfers, yet they willingly choose to buy a home in our community. A big reason for this is the open spaces and the beauty of the landscaping that comes with a well-manicured golf course. The golf courses are an amenity for all homeowners, with more than half of our homes bordering one of our 2 golf courses. The GAC is composed of 9 members, 1 from each of the 7 golf clubs and 2 at-large members. Because the golf courses are an important asset to our community, any resident homeowner, golfer or non-golfer, is eligible to apply and become an at-large member of the GAC. The appointment to the GAC is for 2 years, and there is an opening for the 2024-25 term. If you are interested in being a member, please fill out a volunteer interest form.
Thank you. Library? Jean?
Good afternoon. Board of Directors, management staff, and residents. I'm Jean Dobson, and I'm here on behalf of the Library Committee. Within the last few days, someone has donated several boxes of books at the South Clubhouse. Most likely, the person or persons who donated the books did so with good intentions. Unfortunately, these and many like them are unwanted by the library. These in particular are old, out of date, in bad condition, and collections that we do not support. For example, there were a lot of medical books, a set of encyclopedias. They were dirty, they were torn. The cover was off of one of the many dictionaries. So we can't use any of those books. The books then become a burden to the committee because we do have to do something with them. They're heavy, they're difficult to move elsewhere, and take a lot of time and effort to get rid of them. Yes, we can put them out for the next book sale, but in the meantime, they need to be put someplace instead of being left in the hallway. If you're considering making a donation of books to the library, please first consult the donation guidelines that are posted on the Sun Lakes website under Library Committee, and pre-sort your books. If you still have questions after reading the directions, please contact one of the committee members first to see if there are books that we can use. In some instances, many instances, they're destined for the trash. Donations happen quite often. That is, I mean, unwanted donations, as many as a couple of times a month.
1 minute.
And they're usually at the main clubhouse. We thank you for your thoughts of generosity and for using the guidelines as posted on each of the library areas. And by the way, we have a couple of, in fact, I think we have 4 openings for the library committee coming up. So if you're interested, please fill out an application that's available at the reception desk and return it to the receptionist to get it to the right place. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lifestyles. Linda?
Good afternoon. What a crowd. My name is Linda Vieira, and I'm chairperson of the Lifestyles Advisory Group. 20 years ago, Courtney Fox Taylor came to the Master Board with an idea to change Lifestyles from a typewritten newsletter to a slick magazine that tells residents of Sun Lakes what's going on in their community. Now this wonderful monthly magazine is the resource most Sun Lakers use to plan the events of their days, weeks, and even months. It gives us contact information for almost everything going on, available in or coming up in Sun Lakes. At 80+ pages, it includes articles from the Master Board, Delegate Assembly, First Service, the restaurant, the Golf Pro, all our clubs and groups, and all the advisory committees. The Lifestyle Advisory Committee meets on the 7th of each month, unless otherwise specified, to review and edit the articles submitted for each month's issue of the magazine. To keep updated about events coming up in our community, we meet with Master Board member Lori Hazelton, Assistant General Manager Jason Ewalls, and Recreation Department Director, whoever that is. We publish want ads and for sale items at no cost from residents, and hide a monthly joke for readers to find. We include paid ads from vendors who have served our residents well. We also publish Friends We Will Miss, a special Did You Know section, and messages of gratitude from residents. Responses to our Get the Joke contest are put in a hat, and a winner is randomly drawn, earning a restaurant gift card as a prize. Photographs taken by residents of areas within Sun Lakes are used on the magazine cover. Okay? If any club, group, or committee, or individual has been influenced by Courtney over the last 20 years and her vision in a positive way, we invite your written comments to be put in October's issue as a surprise for Courtney. You can send them to me at lvieira@eltree.com. If that was too fast, you can find me in the book, Linda Vieira. If you're good at proofreading, don't tell Courtney. If you're good at proofreading and are interested in joining us, please fill out a volunteer application form that you can get in the lobby of the main clubhouse. Thank you.
Thank you. Marketing Advisory Committee.
Ooh, somebody left their book up here. Don't start yet.
It's counting against you, Michelle. Time's going.
Good afternoon, Master Board, FSR residents. My name is Michelle Walter, and I'm the advisory on the Marketing Advisory Committee. We had our meeting yesterday, August 22nd. Our surveys are being put on hold until further direction from the Master Board. We will be working on marketing the Repair and Replacement Replenishment Fund for new home buyers once we get the wording from our attorney and a green light from the Master Board. Our welcome home is scheduled for September 28th from 5 to 7 in the main ballroom. If your club or group would like to participate and share information with new residents, please contact Jason Ewalls in admin. We have come up with a logo for our newly branded Sandwedge Bar and Grill. I have given each of the board members a copy. We are recommending this new logo to be put as decals on the doors of the Sandwich. We will submit this recommendation in writing for your consideration. And I'm just going to show everybody just real quick. I don't know if everybody can see it. We are getting ready for the opening of the Sandwich for Monday Night Football. Our Marketing Advisory and Restaurant and Lounge committees are excited to announce the reopening of the Sandwich Bar and Grill on September 11th. Our two committees are working very closely together to make this a great event for everyone. Marcia will give you more details. Our marketing committee is also working on a new survey card for new homeowners. Once completed, we'll submit in writing our recommendation to the Master Board. The following are the stats on the homes for sale in Sun Lakes from August 1st through the 22nd. For sale or coming as of August 22nd, 27 homes, 2 condos, prices from $299,900 for a condo and $539 for a home on the golf course. In escrow as of August 22nd, 27 homes. Close as of August 22nd, 14 homes. Our committee is meeting twice a month for the next couple of months to get us back on track in marketing our community. The dates are September 12th and 26th, October 10th and 24th, and then we will go back to our regular meeting date on the second Tuesday of each month. And community awareness. Please join us for our informational overview, incident report, and summary of the Highland Fire, Tuesday, September 5th, here in the main ballroom from 1 to 3. Guest speakers are Candace Jenkins, EPAP Executive Team Member, Steve Neese, EPAP Animal Rescue. We'll have somebody for first responder, Michael Romero from Securitas, Banning Police Department. Get answers to questions we had before, during, and after the fire. What is the difference in evacuation orders? Where do you go? Was the Sun Lakes community prepared? Thank you.
Good job. Master Architectural Committee? Yeah.
Thank you, Board. I'm one of those Breckenridge residents. My name is Roy Neerman. I'm the chairman of the Master Architectural Committee. And I'd like to give a thank you to the many fire departments that were present on Breckenridge Avenue recently. It did get a little toasty up there for a while. Many of you have received a letter saying that it's time to paint your trim or paint your stucco. We did not send out any letters during the COVID periods, and we're starting to play catch up. We've gone through about 25% of the homes so far, sent out letters, and according to our CC&Rs, your trim has to be painted every 4 years, and your stucco needs to be painted every 16 years, and we have many homes in the park that have never had a repaint. If for some reason you feel that the trim of your house does not need to be repainted, I'd like for you to contact Edgar Lagunas, if you get the letter. At Planning and Compliance, his telephone number is 951-769-6643. Ask him to inspect your trim paint to see if you can get a 1-year extension. Now, when it comes to painting, all painting, including the colors of the paint, must be approved by the Master Architectural Committee. You must choose your trim paint color and stucco paint color from what we call the approved color paint list. This is almost 100 different colors. And by limiting the trim and stucco paint colors to these approximately 100 colors, it ensures that the color of every house in Sun Lakes will be in harmony with the rest of the homes in Sun Lakes. I don't think any of us, let's say most of us, do not want to live across the street or next door to a bright yellow or bright blue house. And this is what we're attempting to stop. We're getting between 5 and 6 applications per month from people that are not selecting approved colors. The chance of that being approved is 0. So please, when you select your paint, make sure it's one of the approved colors on the list, and we on the MAC will do our best to stop and not have any purple or red or blue homes in Sun Lakes. It's a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Procurement Advisory Committee, Bob?
Good afternoon, members of the Master Board and First Services and fellow Sun Lakes members. My name is Bob Hicks, and I'm currently serving as the chair of the Procurement Advisory Committee. During our most recent meeting, which was just this past Monday, we essentially went over 3 fundamental areas, one of which was a whole series of old business issues that dealt with projects in process in one stage or another. You'll notice if you follow that, they all collapsed and will disappear on the next agenda item, not because they're gone, but because First Services is now including in their monthly management report a specific list of all contracts and another list of all proposed projects and initiatives. And so everything will be tracked via that document. And one of the things we discussed with them was including additional data elements or information that probably makes it too big to be printed out in paper, but that can be posted online, which means that various members of the community, the delegates, other committees can go to this one source of information and at least at a high-level picture answer any questions most people will have, avoiding unnecessary use of people's time, especially on the part of FSR, answering the same questions over and over and over again. One of the most significant things that we covered in addition to that discussion was Mark Birchfield made a presentation to us which in a nutshell made us fully aware of the current dynamics associated principally with the supply chain issues that are impacting Gulf operations and therefore expenditures and or how that might impact the reserve items. Bottom line is it's completely unpredictable as to when people will get things. And so we've discussed coming up with a modification to the normal PAC process to accommodate that so that it can get advanced look and approval to things so they can act when things become available. The final thing is, you heard Bob mention earlier that the Master Board of Directors has requested the PAC to review all the relevant documents and supporting collateral material the Financial Advisory Committee collected in their attempt to solicit proposals. We will subject that information to the normal PAC handbook, which, by the way, is online if people want to know what it is. Of particular concern will be the information the FAC provided prospects to assess uniformity, accuracy, and appropriateness. For example, confidentiality and non-disclosure statements should have been executed. Once we are in possession of all the materials, the PAC will use the handbook process to guide deliberations and report our findings to the Master Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Recreation?
Master Board and FSR and those of you in the audience and at home. The Recreation Advisory Committee, we have our weekend entertainment. Friday, August 25th, we have Hot Wire. On Saturday, we're having Smoking Guns. On September the 6th, Evenings on the Veranda with Renee. That was going to be her last evening, but she extended it to October 4th, so please come out and see her talents in entertainment. On September the 11th, we have an ice cream social, and it will be held in the veranda because on 9/11 we have the football event happening. We're going to be scooping ice cream. October 2nd, we have it in the restaurant. On September the 15th, we have comedy night. It's $15, check only. There is a flyer out for that. On September 23rd, we are looking forward to the Fall Activities Day. Space is limited, so if you have a group or a club that's interested, you need to fill out a form and at the receptionist desk. On October 28th, we have our annual Dog Halloween Costume Contest and Parade. Registration starts September the 5th. The cost is $6 and we're limited to 50 dogs. So we encourage you to come out and fill out a registration for that. On November 3rd and 4th, we have our Fall Craft Fair from 9 to 1. And registration for that is September the 18th through the 24th. So if you're interested in coming out to the craft fair, it's for also vendors and outside folks to sell their crafts. And let's see, what else do we have here? I believe we have also a lottery drawing for that craft fair. Apparently there's so many people that want to get involved.
1 minute.
That's on September 25th at 9:30. And if you want to know information about September's weekend entertainment, there's a flyer out in the foyer. Okay.
Thank you. RV storage? Restaurant and lounge? Must be on a trip.
I think they are.
Good afternoon, everyone. Football is back, yay! So the newly renovated Sandwich Bar and Grill will be the place to be on Monday, September 11th, as the Bills and the Jets kick off Monday Night Football for 2023. There will be a special tribute to the 9/11 victims, as well as honoring those who survived the terror attacks that shook our nation to its very core. The doors will open at 4 p.m. with a Monday Night Football ribbon cutting ceremony. The evening activities will be something you really won't want to miss. Wear your favorite football jersey or patriotic wear that night and test your football trivia knowledge. And if needed, we'll have overflow seating into the restaurant, so there's room for everyone. Tom Kahili will host the trivia contest to see how much you really know about the Bills and the Jets. Chris talked about this earlier, but the staff is creating a restaurant and lounge business plan, and their first draft was presented to the board today. So hopefully you'll hear more about that in the near future. And then due to very poor service from Pepsi over the past year, we've terminated our business with them. We will now be serving Coke products. Hopefully it's better. So get out of here. And then celebrate the end of summer with a luau with special entertainment and all-you-can-eat buffet and special island drinks on September 9th from 5 to 7 in the ballroom. Prepaid tickets are available at the hostess station for $19.95 plus tax and gratuity. The cost on the day of the event is $24.95, so get your tickets soon. They're going very fast. And then also look for information in the near future on the popular Greek Night, and then also Oktoberfest. That's coming up soon. And believe it or not, it's the end of the month. I can't believe how fast this year is going, but that means the last Sunday of the month is brunch. That'll take place from 11 to 3 on Sunday. Last month was well attended. Let's see if we can even make this Sunday even more successful. Chef Chris and his team put together a fantastic spread for you and your guests with made-to-order omelets or eggs, prime rib and carved ham, as well as other delicious entrees and a yummy dessert bar. You won't get a brunch of this caliber in the Pass area for $29.95. So I wish it was $19.90, but $29.95. And then the bottomless champagne is an additional $12. So get a group of your friends together and come and join us this Sunday. And remember, if each of the 3,327 households patronize the restaurant or lounge just once a month, we would go a long way to reduce the subsidy of the restaurant. Come and enjoy a meal or happy hour with your friends. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety Advisory Committee? Mike?
Good afternoon, Board, Management, residents. My name is Michael Voles. I'm Chairman of the Safety Committee, Safety Advisory Committee. As mentioned by the EPAP Chairman earlier, there were some communication and some traffic control issues during the tragedy that we had, or not the tragedy, the near tragedy we had in July with the Highland Fire. In response to that, Mike Romero has recently met with EPAP and those involved with the Highland Fire to discuss and develop plans to prepare for future emergency scenarios. Security will continue to collaborate with emergency personnel to achieve effective and essential intercommunication. Building strong relationships with all first responders will enhance overall emergency response efforts. The planning process will define the roles, responsibilities, resources, and communication protocols for team members. To improve communications during an emergency, the Safety Committee will recommend the acquisition of 3 radios for Securitas, which will be synchronized with EPAP radios for immediate response and communication as emergencies should occur. Timely and accurate information and dissemination will help manage emergencies and prevent panic. On another matter here, the Sun Lake's location here and our geography attract wildlife, which causes safety concerns for our pets. Many residents have reported sightings of bobcats, coyotes, and other predatory animals in our community. 4 recent calls to request retrieval of deceased pets, which were reported as missing, occurred. Please keep a vigilant eye on your pets to prevent them from leaving your property and potentially facing outside dangers. Secure your garage doors in the evenings and keep pets unleashed when taking them out for a walk. Keep your distance from wildlife and report dangerous animals to animal control. There has been a recent rise in citations for unauthorized parking, failure to display handicap placards, and obstructing traffic. Issuing citations is a necessary step in maintaining order and ensuring the safety and accessibility for residents in Sun Lake's common areas. We do have rules here, and there are consequences for parking violations. If you receive an invitation to appear before the Safety Advisory Committee, it means you have received 3 or more citations within the 90-day period. I hope you don't receive our invitation. There has been a noticeable change in traffic patterns since the installation of the new stop signs in the community. Vehicles are slowing down on Country Club Drive. Please remember to make full stops at all stop signs and always be a defensive driver. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank your committee for your safety assessment report. Very helpful. Next is the consent agenda. Any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda, which First Service is about to read? No?
Okay, the consent agenda that's before the board has several items. One is the approval of the July 26, 2023 open session board minutes, the resolution to record a lien, and a resignation of EPAP member Terry Gillian. That was effective July 13th. Back to the resolution to record liens. I am going to read those account numbers. Those account numbers are, bear with me here. Oh, Tams, you're awesome. Okay, good old paper. Account 1470-01, account 1917-01, 2956-01, 3054-01, and 3237-01. These accounts are on the resolution to record a lien as they've reached the delinquency minimum time period to have a lien placed on those accounts when the board approves that. That completes the report.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes
Aye.
4-0. Next is the board report, financial report for July. Randy Robbins has that report.
All right, I'm
Our
gonna-
treasurer is on vacation.
Yeah, with Gary being on vacation, I'm going to give a summary of the report, and he will be, when he gets back, he will be posting the full report onto the website. So for the month of July, we did have an overall net loss of $63,494. The association has a year-to-date, as I mentioned earlier, surplus over budget through the end of July of $232,031. And let's see, at the end of July, the association had cash of $585,886 in the operating fund, $11,725,378 in the repair and replacement fund, and $2,109,098 in the capital improvement fund. Just a reminder, as stated previously, the repair and replacement and capital improvement funds are restricted funds available for specific purposes only. Year-to-date through the end of July, the repair and replacement fund has income of $1,294,693, $1,225,000 allocations of members from HOA, and $69,693 in interest income. The fund has had $1,084,888 in expenditures in 2023. Had to make sure I had the year right. Year-to-date, the capital improvement fund has interest income of $24,941 with expenditures of $176,987. Just as a reminder, the lounge expansion will be funded primarily from the capital improvement fund. That concludes the report.
Thank you. Need a motion to review and file the report?
So move.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 4-0. Next is the appointment of a District 21 alternate delegate. On August 13th, staff received an email from Chairman of the Delegate Assembly requesting the board appoint Bob Heinrich. Is he here today? Well, nope. He's going to be an alternate. For the position of alternate delegate for District 21, any comments from the board? Any comments from membership? Need a motion?
I move to approve, sorry, Randy.
Go ahead.
Beat you to it. I move to approve Bob Heinrich for alternate delegate for 21.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Welcome aboard, Bob. Next is a request from Women for Hope about the facility usage. Management received a request from Women for Hope charity regarding their tournament on September 25th. They are requesting permission to use the restaurant for their lunch following their tournament. This has been done in the past, has never been caused any issue or problems. This would be on a Monday, the day when the restaurant is normally closed. They would purchase food from the restaurant, as they have in the past. And since this is a facility issues request from an outside entity, board approval is required.
I move to approve.
Second?
Any comment from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is a recommendation for the Recreation, from the Recreation Advisory Committee regarding a new group called the Stroke Recovery Group. They have more than 25 members and would like to meet in the clubhouse when time is available. The Recreation Committee is requesting approval from the board. I need a motion in reference to that.
I move that we let the Stroke Recovery Group proceed.
I'll second that. Any comments from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is a recommendation, again from the Recreation Advisory Committee, a name change for an existing group. The group is Marines and Friends. Group has never been dissolved, but it has been inactive for the past couple of years. The committee is recommending this group be renamed to Veterans Group, so all departments of the military feel welcome to join the group. Currently, there are more than 25 residents that would like to participate and be a member of that group. Need a recommendation in reference to that, the name change?
I move we approve the name change, and thank you all for your service.
I'll second that, both of them, both statements.
Any comments from the board or from membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is a recommendation from the Recreation Advisory Committee regarding a Bible meditation and study group. The Recreation Advisory Committee recommended the board not approve the Bible meditation and study group. The committee is recommending this based upon its too closely resembling an existing group. Any comments from the board? I don't agree with the recommendation. I think if they have 25 members and they meet the criteria, I think we should consider allowing them to also be a group and use our facilities. Any other comments from the board or from
I think we need to make
membership?
a motion, Bob, before we can do that. So I move to not accept the recommendation of the Recreation Advisory Committee.
I'll second that,
Now we can have-
meaning that we're going to approve the request.
What?
Any other comment?
Yes, I do. I believe there's a mistake in the naming of this group. So I move to not approve the recommendation of the Recreation Advisory Committee, which is why we did that, but I probably should have moved to table this so that we can have a conversation with the people and make sure we get the right thing. So I would like to pull back my first, whatever the word is.
Withdraw.
Withdraw, thank you.
Well, we have one of the representatives here, Bob O., that might be able to explain and give us some insight into the proper name rather than
Let's make sure we're doing this.
rather
Keep my
than
motion.
postponing it.
Okay, so keep my motion.
Keep the motion, and let's
Okay.
listen to Bob.
Yes, I would like this opportunity to thank the board. If I was in your, to make a decision on this, I would have voted no also. Unfortunately, you didn't get the correct information. This is not a Bible study group, this is a meditation group. And today I have with me Vasu, whose wife Gina had a meditation group that was widely attended. Gina passed away, and at her celebration of life ceremony over in the North Clubhouse rather, that dozens of people came forward to testify how she changed their life for the better. And now I've introduced somebody to Vasu that we found within this community that is a psychiatrist, and she is also a published author. She's written 4 books, and she's agreed to resurrect this meditation group. And I'm hoping that you will reconsider your opinion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments? I think what we need to do is change the wording on our to meditation group rather than.
What I would do right now is withdraw your motions.
Okay.
You will then do a motion with that correction to either approve the meditation group, which has the members, or not.
Okay, so I move to withdraw my initial
Yes.
motion,
Yes.
And you withdraw your second. And now I would like to
I
make a
would-
motion to approve the meditation group that is being put forth, and that is called Meditation Group, simply.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Chris. Now we can have more
Any
comments.
other comments from the board or from the membership? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Next is a member request for facility usage. Management received an email from a homeowner requesting permission to use the Arts and Craft Room on October 21st from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for her Cosmic Smash booking business. I'm not familiar with that business. But following this event, they will have dinner in the restaurant, and they're indicating they would pay for the usage of the room. I need a motion in reference to that request. I'll make a motion that we approve the usage of the Cosmic Smash booking business to use our facility, and the rate that we will charge will be determined and investigated by the First Service staff as to what we have charged in the past.
I'll second. And I do have a comment just to share with you what we're looking at. I don't know what Cosmic Smash booking is either, to be perfectly honest with you, but she says it's an arts process that she teaches online. This is an in-person retreat that'll be over the weekend in October. They're going to use the room, and this is the Art and Craft Room, for one Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., where I guess she's going to show that process in person, that's my guess. And then they will go eat in the restaurant afterwards. So it's going to be 12 people, some residents, some non-residents, and she says, I, of course, am willing to pay a room fee for the room on Saturday. So that's kind of in keeping with ideas that we've had about allowing outsiders to, not outsiders, but outside venues to come in and use our ballroom in particular, and charging a fee for that so that we can have the income from it. So that is something that we're looking into doing moving forward. Like the city of Banning, if they want to have their State of the City here, they would be able to come in here and do that, and there would be a fee. So this is in keeping with that, and it sounds like it could be, probably just don't know how much to charge them yet. So I like that motion, Bob. That's just to give you some more information.
I just have a quick question. Have we verified that this room is available on October 21st?
Linda, are you
That
here?
anything's not
Yes.
planned in there?
It is available, yes.
Okay,
It is, okay.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
Good question.
Any other comments?
No comment. None for me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is a club request, posting of a banner. Mary Flynn from the Sun Lakes Playhouse has requested permission to display a banner at Gate 1 promoting their show on October 26th to the 29th. We have done this previously for Charity Week. The banner would be 4 by 10 feet, and it would be displayed on that particular dates. I need a motion in reference to that.
I move we approve the banner placement.
I'll second that. Any comments from the board or membership?
I have one comment, because I always do. I was wondering where this banner was going to go, and it says in here it's going to go at Gate 1, kind of like you see the Charity Week banner up there at Gate 1. It'll be in that same location.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 4-0. Now comes the fun part. We have a good crowd here tonight, and remember to keep your comments. We have over 20 requests, plus anyone else who wants to comment. So you're looking at an hour or so of comments. And be very, very considerate of others when you're making your comments, not only of the time, but also of the language. You know, or on Channel 97, and let's be respectful of one another.
And just to let you know, the board will not be responding to your comments this evening, but we are taking notes on it.
Yes.
We are writing this down. You will receive comments back, just not this evening. Thank you.
And just a reminder, I will be notifying you at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and to stop. And if it continues, we will just mute the mic. That way the next person can come up.
Thank you. First up, Linda Spalding. You're next.
30 seconds.
That's not fair. Linda Spalding, 286 Brooklawn Drive, the north side. First of all, I want to thank Doug Schultz, city manager. On Saturday, I called him, and within less than 2 hours, we had a trailer full of sand. You know, Saturday we were preparing for the big tropical storm. So we appreciated that. Sandbags were anonymously donated. About 45 50-pound sandbags were purchased from Home Depot and loaded into Marsha Midget's car. You should have seen her car when she pulled in, because I was worried about suspension. Cal Martin, District 21 delegate, along with new neighbors and friends, came to fill sandbags and deliver sandbags to the Breckenridge burn area. I want a special thank you to your board president. He filled sandbags. No medical leave. So we filled about 200 bags on Saturday, and I thought that was really great. This was such a positive experience, helping neighbors. I'm so grateful that I live here in Sun Lakes. It's been 20 years. It was nice to see neighbors helping neighbors. And I want to thank Anita Lawrence. She did a great job interviewing and taking pictures of the crew. Thank you so much. So I was so moved by last Saturday's event that I am making grateful bracelets, because I am grateful. They have 3 beads on them. And so I'm going to pass them out anonymously whenever I see fit. You're not going to know who, you know, it's like the rocks we got during. So it's going to be like that, but they're grateful bracelets. So I'm going to start, because I have one. So 1, I'm grateful that I live in Sun Lakes. 2, I'm grateful for my friends here. I've never had such friends as you create and get in Sun Lakes. 3rd, I'm grateful I woke up this morning, because I can tell you about my Grateful Bracelet campaign. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Next is Michelle.
Good afternoon, Master Board, First Service, residents. It seems as of late there seems to be so much hostility towards our Master Board members when residents and committees don't get their way. I believe it's very easy to criticize our Master Board. These board members were elected. They don't get paid. They are volunteers. I don't think you realize the time and dedication it takes to be a board member. You may not like some of the things the Master Board does, but they are doing it for the benefit of the whole community, not for themselves. This is a big job that comes with a lot of responsibility. This board has been concise, honest, and proactive. Our Master Board has been working as a team and has accomplished and implemented many changes. They have been trying to build a better community for all of us. When we come up here to the podium to speak to our elected board or our management company, we need to treat them with respect and dignity, just as you would want. We need not point fingers, yell or raise our voices. They can hear us just fine. We will get so much more accomplished if we can calmly express our opinions and get right to the point without arguing or combative language. Instead of complaining, step back and consider whether you've tried to take steps to resolve them. It's so easy to complain, but then offer some ideas for solutions. As advisory committees, hence our name, advisory, we only give recommendations to the board, not demand that they do what we tell them. They govern us, not the other way around. This is a quote by Charles Swindoll. "The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play on the string we have, and that is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you we are in charge of our attitudes. I am asking everyone, let us all strive to seize the moment with a fresh perspective, humor, thankfulness, and spirit that will strengthen our beautiful community and not destroy it."
Thank you. Joan Burke.
Good afternoon, Board and residents. I'm here to ask about the dog park on behalf of the dog owners group. So, and again, you said you're not going to answer me today.
Not today, but you will get an answer regarding the suitability of a location that
Okay.
we're attempting to find.
Actually, I'll address that, Joan, in my board comment.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next is Sharon Robinson.
Hello, I'm Sharon Robinson. At the August 4th, 2023 District Delegate Assembly meeting, there was discussion regarding an alert system for the community that could be utilized to communicate to all homeowners critical information directly to their home and or cell phones. It was specifically noted that it was needed during the fires that threatened many homes here in Sun Lakes recently, especially so when considering some had to be evacuated and others did not feel that they were being kept well informed as to the fire status and what appropriate action they needed to take, as reported by EBAP. I did ask the district delegate meeting about I did ask at the district delegate meeting about the resident alert system as outlined in the FSR contract and was told by FSR staff that there was none. If you reference the actual contract dated January 2019, page 4 of 17, section 3, under management scope of work, 3.2.10, resident alert. The management shall make voice and email messaging service known as resident alert available to the association. The board shall determine whether and to what extent the association shall use the resident alert. So the question is there a reason the resident alert system as outlined has not been implemented as contracted? Being that the management company is contractually obligated to supply such a service, I'm sure there would be an interest on what it all entails and when it could be implemented. I'm sure EPAP and others would find it extremely helpful as they work to serve our community. I would like this statement and questions included in the minutes of this meeting and made available online. I also request the answer to be given in open session
1 minute.
for the entire community to hear. Thank you for your attention to this important matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Debbie Robbins. I'm just going down the list and just having that one.
Okay, before I start, full disclosure, I am married to a board member, so this comes from that space. When we decided to move here and become part of this community 5 years ago, I thought this was going to be our forever home. Lately, I'm not so sure that was such a great idea. I've sat through months of open session board meetings and delegate meetings and continue to hear the same things over and over again. Maybe it's time we stop criticizing this board and management team and we step up to help where we're able. It is ridiculous to think that continual criticism is going to solve anything. These things did not get broken overnight, and they are not going to get fixed overnight. This brings me to our amenities. We live in a virtual paradise. It's why we moved here. I'm not sure why, as a community, we've decided to pick apart 2 of our amenities and no others. I have not once heard anyone ask how much it costs to run those 3 pools we all enjoy. I don't use all the amenities, but I should have to support them. That's what I signed on for. Now, the thought that board members and staff alike should have to deal with rude behavior is beyond my comprehension. We are all grown adults. We are not children. We know better, and we should do better. I'm not, so maybe next time, before you come to this podium and show your displeasure with something, you could maybe just come and say what you don't like instead of standing up here throwing a temper tantrum. We hope, thanks. My hope is that we come together as a community and start to support the people we elected to make those tough decisions. Sometimes a simple thank you is all the payment a volunteer needs. So I'm gonna start because I know firsthand what they go through. Thank you for the time and energy you put into this job. And let me say to staff that without these guys couldn't do their job either. Thanks.
Thank you. Next is Ken Johnson.
Ken Johnson, Birdie Drive, Master Board, Administration, Residents. First, I have a comment. The July Master Board and the August District Delegate meetings were troubling to me, and I know a small majority of residents can sometimes ruin the whole happiness of the majority. I could see some problems, though, even with the board. I looked at the August Master Board. It said that they were working and everybody signed the communication that we're trying to negotiate a contract with First Service, and our #1 goal was to save money for our community. The Treasurer's report, though, indicated that the restaurant group that was gathered said an RFP should be going out. And he said, in his opinion, others negotiating for FSR without a competitive proposals would not attain the best financial results. So hopefully there's a consensus among the board when Gary gets back that you guys are on not an eye, but a teamwork to come to some resolution. So I believe one of the Master Board's goals should be to make sure that we get the best value of how our homeowner dollars are being spent that match residents' expectations, not the development of the lowest dollar HOA fee that eliminates or has lower quality services. I really, as a 20-year resident, am concerned that I can't live in Sun Lakes Country Club. I feel sometimes we're running down and we have a rundown Sun Lakes community. So if I can't afford to live here, or I don't really like it, I will leave. And I've not really looked at that the first time until all this other stuff has been going on. So I think we need to have, so everybody has the same footing, we should have a living requirements document that matches our residents and Master Board's expectations that can be used in procuring needed services. And that we should be able to establish appropriate service level SLAs from those critical operational functions that will be able to help us guide. So if we got requirements and we know what needs to be done in performance, we know if we're meeting our target. So I'm glad that you heard the RFPs were going back from the FAC to the procurement, but I hope that they're laid out and they're able to make some comparison and they include FSR in that process. The restaurant hasn't made money since I've been here, but I think we ought to be looking as a group how to improve Sun Lakes and come up with the best plan so I can stay here and enjoy all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Robert O. Would you like to, I know you spoke earlier on your particular issue. Are you interested in saying anything? I have a sheet from you. From the meditation group, Robert? I guess he's, next is Howard Katz. Howard Katz? We're just going down the list here. So.
Afternoon, my name is Howard Katz. I'm in District 23. Thank you, board, admin, residents. Sorry it took me so long to get up here, but I really hurt my hip the other day, and walking is a real problem. What I want to discuss today is the difference that I see in the funds for new and remodels of items or amenities here in Sun Lakes. The fund for putting in new elements, the CIF, is something that we have some $2 million in. And that's great, but it is mentioned really to put in a new facility, a new function. Yet we call the changes that are being planned for the restaurant and lounge a remodel. And remodels should come from repair and replacement fund. So what I would really like the board to do is consider where the money is really coming from and how much is coming and going for a remodel, which is not a new facility here.
Thank you. Next is Sherry Flynn. Do you know that last name?
Hello, good afternoon again. I used to work for Orchard Supply Hardware in the nursery, and I love gardening. I do a lot of walking with my dog, 3 or 4 times a day, and I have noticed the last couple months that a lot of the trees that have died or fallen or been removed are not being replaced. And I've noticed also that a lot of the landscaping that has been approved has does not have trees in them. I don't know if that's something that was a mistake, but I'm noticing it over and over. And I'm also noticing that there's a lot of homes that are being approved with almost all rock and almost no plants at all. Nothing along the sides of the houses, so you just have rock right up to the house. And my concern is that Sun Lakes is such a beautiful place, and part of the beauty is our landscaping and our trees and our gardens. And if we keep going down this road where we're allowing people to not put in trees and to put in just rocks and stones, Sun Lakes will not look as it does now over time. So I would like to have that enforced. And if you need to have addresses, I'll give you addresses that need to be looked at. But I would hope that we could stick with the CCNRs. The CCNRs say that a tree must be one 15-gallon tree, but it also does not count if it's not past the front of the house where the garage is. So many people have it in the corner there, but that does not count as one tree. It has to be past that. So you can have one in the corner, but you also need one in the landscaping. So I don't know if is there a landscaping committee still? Because I know there was one going to be started, or did it never happen?
We have a subcommittee within a committee that does landscaping, but the best thing would be to identify the specifics, do a message to management, and then we have a tracking system where are they doing that, and is it in violation, yes or no? That's what I would suggest.
Well, there's one thing to have a violation, but it's the other thing to approve landscaping that does not have enough green. It's used to be 70%, 30, and now I think it's 50-50. And so the problem is it's getting approved by the landscape committee or the architectural committee, and it's not following the CCNRs. And it's going to be a detriment to our community over time. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Randy Haydes.
Hello, my name is Randy Haydes, and I live at 859 Riviera. I came to this community because it was a private, gated community, and I bought my house and I did remodeling to it because I want to stay here until they take me out in a box. But I keep hearing over and over that they're talking about opening up this place and letting other people come in and use our facilities. And since they've been talking about this, and it's getting out in the other communities, I've had people come into me and tell me that they are doing this and they're waiting. And at the same time, I've had 3 of my friends that wanted to buy homes here have now started looking in other communities because of that. So if that's not something that's going to happen here, then people should really stop talking about it. And I know that I bought mine for that reason. It's because I love the golf course and I want to play and I want to keep it private for the safety of everybody. And I hope that we do that. And thank you for your services.
Thank you, Randy. Next is Ajit.
Ajit, Torrey Pines Road. Chairman, members of the board and administration, Chris, Jason, Tammy. Congratulations to Jason and Mark Schleiden and Chris and Tammy and the board for putting Securitas information on our country club website. It's really good and everyone should have a look at that. While I'm happy, you could make me ecstatic by adding valuable past information to that to make the numbers more meaningful. As I've mentioned a few times before, I'm glad to offer you my help in making it much more useful and easier to read. So your work is not done, but that is not to detract from the excellent information you provided. It's really very good. As part of my second comment, I need to start with a disclaimer. No one wants to buy a Lexus and pay the price of a Maserati. And what I mean is that I want to draw a distinction between the good work that the administration is doing and the high price we are being charged by FSR. By my estimate, we are paying about $1 million every year to FSR. I would like you to challenge my estimate by providing our community, which you represent, the actual numbers, actual funds that were paid, that are being paid to FSR. When I was a member of the FAC, we had asked for actual numbers from the administration, but we never got them from FSR. I had suggested to Gary Burkle a few months ago a solution. I'm not now urging the board to add a page to the financial statements which lists the entire amount we are paying FSR every month. It is simple and a prudent thing to do to list your biggest vendors with payments to them on financial statements. And guess what? FSR is our biggest vendor, and that information is missing and has been missing in every financial statement produced by FSR that I've seen. And remember, this is not a reflection of the high quality of work Chris, Jason, Tammy, and their group are doing, but a reaction to FSR's pricing. So if you're negotiating a contract with FSR, please don't be satisfied with cosmetic reduction in costs. I recall, I believe Troon can save about 40% at least. I recall contacting Troon, myself, Ron, I think Harry was there also. This is about in 2021 when we were looking at ways to reduce our restaurant costs. And we never got a proposal because the board did not sign a simple non-confidentiality agreement. What a colossal mistake. I think you have 4 months before the year ends to get a competing proposals to compare with FSR. I think, yeah, I heard you say that, well, the procurement committee has been given the task, and I'm sure it's in good hands, and I hope they'll do a very good job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Greg Cochran. Okay. Barbara Jesus.
Good afternoon, board members. Glad to see everybody here. I just want to touch base on a couple of things, but I think I'm going to be a downer after this uplifting meeting. But I arranged to do the question, so I will do it. I'd like to have a status on the foreclosures, how many homes we have in foreclosure, and if we're making any headway with HUD or the insurance companies on like the reverse mortgage loans. If we are making any headway in getting those properties moved off our books. I know that you mentioned about renting them out, and I think that's still pending legal, but I would hopefully like some information on that. As far as executive session, you know, I've talked about the fact that I think you're doing too much in executive session. That doesn't really qualify as an executive session item. So I would hope that the board would look at the information I sent them, take a look at your executive minute items, and then please get back to us. One other thing is, I noticed in executive session there was an item for Charity Week, Sun Lakes Charity. Do we have, and I would like to know if we have a contract with them. So I don't know why they would be in an executive session. That's just one item, unless you were reprimanding them for something. I don't know why that would be an executive session, or if you had a contract with them and somehow you were working on something. Other than that, I yield the floor to the next member. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Lee Stone.
Hi, everyone. Lee Stone, District 20. First of all, I want to thank all of you board members and you three down here for sitting through these meetings all the time and putting up with a lot of what you hear. Did I vote for all of you? No. Do I always agree with all your decisions? Absolutely not. But I do believe that you work for us and not against us. And although I understand the frustrations of some past and present advisory committee members, today I stand with you and yours, who for the most part are unable to respond to personal barbs and don't get as much positive feedback as you deserve. Many of us have been quietly observing the politics of Sun Lakes, and it can be very confusing to understand what's going on, even when you're doing your best to pay attention. We have many issues here, and many of us have concerns about how certain things are handled and communicated. But there are ways to express your concerns without attacking the integrity of individuals. Some of it is said in this room, right to their faces. A lot is written on Facebook, and even more is quietly whispered out in the community. The board constantly weighs the opposing priorities of neighbors with disparate needs. Do they sometimes make mistakes? Yeah. I mean, we've seen them reverse course when presented with reasonable arguments to an issue. Do they take personal attacks personally? Don't you? Yeah. Do you think their job is easy? Well, let's help them. Make it easier by addressing issues, not personalities. Some unfortunate things have happened recently, and I don't always understand why certain decisions are made. But I do know that we elected this board. They are still our neighbors and also deserve to enjoy Sun Lakes in peace. They do many things that improve life here for us and will continue to do so. But we have responsibilities to each other to work together as a community, deciding on paths forward in a healthy way, socially and financially. If we can't figure out how to communicate, it will be hard to find others willing to volunteer. Let's all do better.
Thank you. Next is Marcia Midget.
Good afternoon again. I've been coming to Sun Lakes since early 2000. My aunt and uncle lived here and bragged about this community and all it had to offer. They thoroughly enjoyed their final years here. Like many of us today, we all look forward to a wonderful place to live out our golden years. And Sun Lakes fit the vision my husband and I had for our retirement home. If you are bored living here, that's your own fault. All the wonderful amenities from the revenue-generating golf course and restaurant and lounge to the non-revenue-generating ones like bocce ball, pickleball, tennis, the swimming pools, and the clubhouses keep our community young and active. The numerous groups and clubs utilize those amenities. Sun Lakes is an awesome place to live. As we have matured and gained life experience, one thing that has always been constant in our life is change. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to elect residents to serve on the master board. Board members change with each election cycle. Being a board member is a thankless job. 5 people with varying backgrounds spend hours in meetings, working together to do their fiduciary responsibility to maintain and improve the quality of life we all enjoy. I personally want to thank the board for their selfless actions, working with the management team to find the best solutions for the greater good of Sun Lakes. Over the past year or so, the negativity being blasted about the running of our community by a small minority of our residents is very disheartening, especially when part of that negativity is coming from a board member about our financial reports. Each year, Sun Lakes undergoes an independent financial audit, of which you are all mailed their results. The reports have been positive. If there was an issue with our financial soundness, it would have been found out long before now. So instead of bashing the management company or going out on your own without any direction from the board to interview companies to take over the golf course or the restaurant and the lounge, following the CC&Rs and rules and regulations which everyone agreed to when moving here would be welcomed. It's time that the silent majority takes notice to be louder than the minority of naysayers that have pulled together to try and tarnish the beauty of our wonderful community. And then on a side note, I want to say let's take care of our restaurant and lounge staff for all they do for us. They could use some positivity instead of listening to a lot of negativity. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Next is Don Day.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is really nice to see this room full of residents. We need to do that more often. I've been very proud to serve as chair of the Finance Advisory Committee. Since March, we've established 5 fully functional subcommittees designed to support the board, and the board does need to be supported. The team submitted 4 management proposals for the board to utilize in negotiations with FSR, and this was accomplished in only 29 days following our June 14th approval to go forward. I will address the approval one last time while I serve my 90-day suspension. I had no intention of getting up at the last board meeting during residents' comments, and I'm disappointed in the direction that the meeting went. I'm sorry that it did. That being said, I didn't expect to basically being called out as being untruthful about what I was saying. Respect goes both ways. I think it's important that it goes both ways. I also didn't expect to be attacked by another committee for what we had done, which was done only for the benefit of this community and exercising our fiduciary responsibility, what the Finance Advisory Committee would want to do. I have a number of documents that I was going to hand out tonight outlining the timeline of how this project developed. The first document that I was going to hand out, but I will not. I think we were in a very good positive mood here, and I'd like to keep it that way. But the first document was submitted to the board through Randy on March 28th, and that was our understanding of the statements that were made at the March meeting. April 3rd, we actually submitted a scope of work that the team would be working on to develop an RFP. We also, going forward, everything has been done for the benefit of the community, and we're proud to have accomplished what we have. It's interesting, if you go through the various documentations that were shared back and forth through the liaison to the board, it's very interesting that we had never been told to stop. I totally don't understand why that is. It's also disappointing that 2 FAC members have been suspended and others have received written warnings from the board.
30 seconds.
Why would anybody want to join a committee? I hope that our residents will recognize from this discussion that what the team accomplished was done for Sun Lakes and was done with an understanding that we had the authorization to do so. If anybody would like to see that documentation supporting that, I'd be happy to do so. But we do need to support the board in this community. It's a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Bob Blair. And if you don't know Bob Blair, he is our club champion. Congratulations again.
Most people know that I'm the club champ, or they know me from dancing Friday and Saturday nights with my wife. But my real expertise, though it wasn't my career, I've spent 20 years in the golf business. I've picked the range, I've cleaned carts, I've worked behind the shop, and I've been a greenskeeper for 4 years. This golf course is well run. Now, Randy Robbins' wife kind of stole my thunder. It's well run. I mean, Mark was National Greenskeeper of the Year in 2005. How we got him, I don't know. So the other 2 nights ago, we were out talking, and you hear rumors, you know, we've been hearing rumors they want to contract it out. I moved here for golf and golf only. My wife doesn't play golf, but she wanted to live on a golf course. So we rented a house from Sharon for a year to see if we liked it. We loved it. I couldn't believe how good the course was. There's nothing wrong with our management for that. So a couple nights ago, I heard they got to put out a bid for a company to come in, and I said, I know that company. Things will get worse. They are not for a country club. They are for a municipal, city-owned course that is run poorly. They can help them. They cannot help us. There's nothing wrong with our management. Now, I don't know anything about the restaurant business. They do restaurants too, but if they do it, the restaurants, what they do to golf courses, it's not good. And what they do is they come in and they'll get rid of Mark, and I said this the other night, They'll get rid of Mark, our greenskeeper, and Brian, our pro. And they'll replace them with people that don't make that much money. I saw Mark yesterday as my wife and I were cleaning up tree limbs and stuff.
1 minute.
And when he heard the rumor, he says, I want to work 7, 8 more years. It will not be here. They will not keep me. It doesn't matter what promise they make. They will not keep me. Here's the best greenskeeper there is in Southern California. I went in and talked to Brian about it. He says they will not keep me. Brian does a great job in the pro shop. He is a salesperson.
30 seconds.
Talk to Tuck. Now, I know everybody loves Tuck, especially the women's golf club. Tuck said he will not, I don't know if he said he would not or would not care to work for this company. I'm not mentioning the company because we are on TV. But they're not for us. And I wish we would squash any of these rumors, because I tell you, I've been looking around at other places because I get tired of, this is not what I signed up for to live here.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Joe Canino?
Good afternoon, board, management team, fellow residents. I've been here a long time. I know what everything you guys are talking about. I've been here 2 months. 2 months, Randy, and I'm in the podium in the 2 months, right?
I'd get you.
So I raised a family. Me and my wife, we have beautiful kids, beautiful grandkids, and we decided we were going to go somewhere that we thought we could spend the rest of our life. 5106 Singing Hills Drive. That's where I'm going to spend the rest of my life with my wife. I bought into a country club. I bought into a fenced-in community. I owned a security company for 30 years. I bought into the safety and the promise that this was going to stay private. I'd like to keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. George Meldrum?
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, board, for all the work that you guys do. I know you give 110%. You try very hard, and we all appreciate it. And the same to the management team we have. I know they try very hard. I'm here to talk about the same subject, about this idea of bringing in outside management teams to run our restaurants and golf course and other amenities, and maybe the possibility that we could make more revenue if we turn the golf course private or public. It actually would cost us a lot more money to bring outside play in. We'd have to construct a cart barn. We'd have to lease a lot more or buy a lot more golf carts. The cost of maintenance would go up exponentially, and it would be hard for residents to get a tee time if there were enough outside play to actually significantly impact the income, or I should say the profit above cost. We'd also have to add, by the way, people to run that cart barn and charge the carts and such. So the net increase in income we would get by ruining the atmosphere of the golf course, not to mention people walking around my backyard looking for their golf balls while checking to make sure whether or not I locked my sliding glass door. I'm not for that. Also, you would be opening up the whole property to anyone that came up to the gate and said, I'm going to play golf. And they could come in here and do whatever they wanted. So there would be no security
One minute.
whatsoever. Also with respect to the, thank you, also with respect to the restaurant, the same thing is true. If you get an outside company in here to run a restaurant thinking it's going to make more income, it would, because they're going to charge $12 for a drink. I don't think anybody really would go to the bar and restaurant and pay $50 for a meal or $15 for a glass of wine. So we wouldn't be making any profit
30 seconds.
there either. So I would ask you to think about these things when you think about bringing outside people in to run the course or restaurant and or make it a public golf course. I didn't buy a place on a public golf course either. I would be leaving.
Thank you. Next is Jim Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jim Smith, 5144 Savannah Drive. I too have worked in the golf industry. After I retired, I worked in the golf industry for 8 years. One of the golf courses I worked at changed management companies twice during the time I was working there, and on both occasions they changed all of management. They brought in new management that we had to retrain, and it ended up being the same golf course, just the rates change, because any management company that comes in, they need to change the rates to show that they're making a profit. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're considering bringing another management team. I came here in 2014. Prior to that, I was fortunate enough to have somebody invite me in, and I visited the property. And and I decided right away it's a beautiful community. And being a golfer, I fell in love with the golf course. Then, I rented a place for a couple years to make sure, I would really, truly enjoy it. Became an annual member. And every day that I play this course, I'm just so thankful that I'm playing on a course that I own. It's my private golf course, and I love it here. If that was to change in any shape or form, it would be difficult for me to stay here. Like most people that come in here, you come in here for the amenities. Whatever you pick, whatever you choose, that's your choice to enjoy. I moved here for the golf and the security. To lose either one of those would be detrimental to how I feel about living here. When I did buy in here, I knew that I was going to pay a monthly assessment to support all the amenities that we have, knowing that I only use two of them, the golf course and the security. But I know that my monthly assessment goes to all of the amenities. So I think all residents need to understand that we're paying for all of the amenities and not just what you like and what you enjoy doing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ron Smith.
Hello, everyone. My name's Ron Smith. I live on Fairway Oaks. And first of all, I want to thank our board. I'm on the golf board. And so being on the golf board, you only have to deal with about 250 people. These people deal with over 7,000 people. So my hands are off to you because it's a ton of work. And thank you, the management company, for what you do. My concerns is about the golf. We moved here almost 6 years ago. And the only reason why we moved here instead of Four Seasons is because of the golf course. I'm a golfer. My buddy Bob Blair was up here earlier. Jim Smith, he's on our golf board. And we hear these rumors. And whether they're true or not, it's really a concern to us if they bring in open play. Because I live on the golf course, I have a park to look at every morning. Half the time we don't lock our slider. We're not worried about someone coming into our house or coming in and getting golf balls out of our backyard. It's just a peace of mind knowing that my wife can go out and walk and not have any problems. We came from Highland and San Bernardino. So living in San Bernardino, I was born and raised there, and my wife was born in Barstow, but she was basically raised in San Bernardino. She was scared to death to go out for a walk anymore. So that's the reason why we moved here. So we moved out here 6 years ago. I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids that now live in Beaumont. They followed us with the grandkids. So not only did we set roots here, the rest of my family has. And the reason why we did was because this was a secured facility that we could grow old and probably be our last place that we live and not have to be worried about it. And with these changes that are being brought to the board, scares us. And it really scares us a lot because we will not feel safe. And this is what we plan to do. And this is what we signed up for when we first signed escrow. We knew what was happening. Money goes to the golf, money goes to here. The only thing that we do here is we live here, we both still work, and I play golf. We don't do any of the other, activities. Do we bitch about it? No. We don't say a word.
30 seconds.
So there's got to be other ways to raise money. You guys, when you renegotiated with Spectrum, you actually saved me $125 a month. So I'll be more than happy to give you the $125 every month. So I want to thank you guys. I'm sure you're going to come up with a great idea. We all voted you in, and I appreciate the hard work you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Steve Neese. Steve Neese, is he still here? There he is.
Steve Neese on Sunrise Drive. I would like to thank the board for 2 decisions you made recently for the betterment of Sun Lakes. First one, you brought back the street cleaner. Thank you for that. The streets have never looked better. They're back to the way they should look. The second decision you made, personally to me and my wife, you brought back a monitor at the pool. That has solved some problems that have been going on at the pool. Thank you very much for that. We observed the young lady there the other day, and she was fantastic. She actually cleaned the tables off. She rearranged the furniture when somebody left. She took their chase lounge and moved it back where it belonged. She revolved around the pool constantly, watching people. She corrected some people that were not aware of the rules. She did it professionally, politely, and so my compliments. So thank you very much for your 2 decisions.
Thank you. Next is Anita Lawrence. If you don't know Anita, she does coffee with the GM every month.
And she travels.
Yeah, and she does travel.
Hello, Master Board, First Service, and fellow residents. I'm Anita Lawrence, and on September 1st, my husband and I will have lived in Sun Lakes for 25 years. One of the biggest reasons we moved here was for the amenities. Amenities lead to higher resident satisfaction, occupancy, and property values. And we knew we wanted to live in a place that provides amenities such as tennis, golf, a restaurant, and many other activities this community offers. 25 years ago, we felt we had made the best decision for our retirement years, and we still do today. However, it seems that there is a movement afoot in this community to either open our restaurant and golf courses to the public or close them because they are not profitable. Let me state, many of us moved here to enjoy the amenities of this community. And if they're closed, what's the point in living here? We pay a monthly HOA fee for the maintenance and upkeep of these amenities. The outside public, who would be permitted to come in to use them, do not pay a thing towards the maintenance of these assets. I see residents blaming the Master Board, First Service, and the restaurant management for poor financial performance. But We should be looking at ourselves. There are many residents who do not eat in the restaurant, even once a month, and I dare say some that have never, ever supported that amenity. The argument I hear most often is, it's too expensive, prices are too high. Have they gone outside our gates to eat in a sit-down restaurant locally in Redlands or in Palm Springs? I'd also like to say that we've been around long enough to see many board members come and go, and we've always felt that as a whole, most of them always had the best interest of the community at heart. The job of being a master board member is a thankless, unpaid job to which they devote countless hours each week. We have also been around long enough to see residents complain loudly and long enough to get rid of PCM Associa, the management company that was here before the First Service Residential. Now we're hearing the same thing. Get rid of First Service, but to what end?
30 seconds.
To bring in another management company only to push them out the door in a few years. A very vocal minority of residents wants to radically change what has been a monumental success since this community opened in 1987. It's time the silent majority let their voices be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Raylene? I don't know.
Raylene Kretschmann, Bay Hill Road. Good evening, Master Board, FSR, and my fellow residents. I'm here tonight to talk about something that's at the heart of this community's success. That's unity, collaboration, and support. We're all in this together, especially when it comes to the matters of our Master Board of Directors, who we thank. Our community is more than just houses and streets. It's a shared space that we all call home, and it's our responsibility to make it the best that it can be. I know that I'm not alone in feeling frustrated by the constant criticisms from a vocal minority aimed at our board. We're dealing with some pretty angry people who seem to have made it their mission to bring down the board at every turn. It's like their personal problems have taken over and they are dragging us into their feud. So let's ask ourselves, what's driving this? What's really motivating their actions? It's challenging to determine how the hateful rhetoric they're expressing contributes positively to our community. It's time for the majority, the silent majority, to step up and have our voices heard. We can't continue to let a handful of discontented individuals keep causing chaos and interfering with the progress our Master Board is trying to make. Our community's strength is tied to our ability to work as one and support each other. Let's get involved, let's team up, and let's back our board as they strive to maintain and enhance our neighborhood. However, I believe this extends beyond mere board support. It's about caring for the place we all call home. In conclusion, I would like to remind us all, we're stronger than when we are united. Let's overcome the negativity and work toward a brighter future for Sun Lakes. After all, isn't that why we all moved here? Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our 25 requests for speaking. Is there anyone else that would like to speak before we adjourn? We have about 20 minutes left for a happy hour.
I'm Sharon Keeley, and I live on Laguna Seca Court. And I've sat through many of these meetings, and I have just been so disturbed about what I'm hearing. But I'm hearing such good things tonight that this one probably doesn't matter. But I still have to say that we're from San Bernardino and Rialto, and we've lived out of the country most of our time in the last 25 years. And our Colorado Springs was where our international home was. We were looking for a forever home. And in 2006, we were at a high school reunion for David, and Gaylord and Diane Spence are graduates with David. And we said, but we can never afford to move back to California once you leave California. Gaylord said, I can tell you a well-kept secret. And then he said, banning. I said, banning? Okay. So the next day we were at the gate, and Gaylord was home, and so he let us in, and we put an offer on a house that day because this was what we said, this is going to be our home forever. We still traveled, and we were gone a lot, but when we came back home, this was such a secure place, and the people we met were such wonderful people that we just fell in love with where we're located. We had good friends. We had neighbors that would watch our house. Didn't have to, but they did while we were gone. And then a great thing, everything was great until COVID came. Well, anyway, that's the excuse we use. We say that time has changed and COVID has acted like what we used to be, wonderful people. My favorite reply is build a bridge and get over it, which means build a bridge and get over it. COVID is gone. And I'm just here to say thank you to our master board for all the hours you spend for us. And the hours are long and the pay is not very great. But you're there because you care about Sun Lakes. And thank you also to the administration. Thank you, Christopher and Jason and Tammy, as you sit there and listen to our complaints. The rest of our Sun Lake staff is so caring for our wants and our needs also.
1 minute.
I am so sorry for the negative remarks that are made to you face to face and behind your back. My agenda tonight is just to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeannie. Hi, board. I am so glad to live here. It's security. As a single woman, I'm not afraid to go in my door and to live here that somebody is going to come rob me or anything else. We don't need people coming and playing golf that don't belong here. They don't pay our prices, and that's why we live here. If you don't know me, I used to deal with women in distress, and we have several women here that are in distress. And if you see somebody who's not happy or sad, ask them how they're doing. Just ask them. We recently got a gentleman removed from a home. He lived there for 7 years, did not pay rent. And he just brutally, just mentally abused this woman. And we got him removed. But we need to be aware of our neighbors and that they are present and they're answering the door and they don't need help. But I love our community, and I thank every one of you for being here and listening and accepting us. And I used to be on a board, so I know what it's like to sit there and listen to complaints. I do. I do. And Debbie, you're the best, sweetie pie.
1 minute.
And if we could just get rid of those stupid animals that take our dogs and our animals. And I love living here, and I love our staff, and we just need to thank them. Be thankful that we live here in a beautiful community. I love you.
Thank you. No other comments? We'll go to board comments. Beverly?
Because I know everybody's ready to get out of here. I want to address the dog park that Joan had asked about. Randy and I have worked together on this, and we have actually gone out and interviewed neighbors around 3 areas that had been suggested to us by the dog owners group. Excuse me. In those areas, altogether, we have not been able to find one that the residents are agreeable to having a dog park. So far, we are still looking for that perfect place. The board said that, yes, we'd approve a dog park, assuming we can find a location, and we are still trying to find a location. So that's where things stand. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is quite a turnout. I'm really impressed. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Lori?
Sherry Flynn actually did most of what I was going to speak about regarding the mosquitoes, so I think we're up to par on that. I would also like to add that the round table that we had in the foyer that has been removed will be brought back periodically for special holidays and occasions. So it will be back, and I know a lot of you were very concerned about that, so we took that into consideration today. And I really don't have much other than that. Than it has just touched me with the kind and positive comments that you have all made today, and I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy?
So last night when I wrote my director comments, it was a full page. I've learned a long time ago in business and the way I was raised, some people will call it turn the other cheek, some will call it taking the high road. I'm taking the high road. I will say this, over the last 6 months, there's been 6 occasions when I've been attacked personally, either in person or on the phone. I'm not going to take that anymore. The board's going to hear about it, members are going to hear about it, I'm going to tell you that. That being said, the positivity that came out of this room tonight, we got to get this done. We're here for a community. I am going to address the golfers. Most of you know I am a golfer. I will tell you right now, my stance on the golf course of any open to public is negative. I will never vote for it unless it goes to a ballot measure and it is approved by the residents. That's all I'm going to say tonight.
Thank you. I just have a few brief comments before we leave. I appreciate everybody coming here and expressing their opinions and support for our community and our board. What we have here is an amazing, amazing community. It's affordable, it's gated, it's private country club, 2 golf courses, our own restaurant and lounge, Sandwedge Bar and Grill, bocce courts, tennis courts, a new pickleball complex, indoor and outdoor pools, a new upgraded ballroom, 3 clubhouses and gyms, new billiard room, or new billiard tables in the rooms, over 70 outstanding groups and clubs. This is an amazing, amazing place to be. Together, I think we can continue to, to keep it as beautiful as it is. Now, speaking of togetherness, I'd like to acknowledge what recently happened this week. We had volunteers who organized a sandbag operation here at Sun Lakes. Linda Spalding, Marcia Midget, Michelle and others, Michelle Walter and others, got together and had the sandbags available, distributed them with Cal Martin's help and many other people who put the bags together. And they responded to a emergency situation in an awesome, awesome way, and I really appreciate the togetherness. And then the following day, Tuesday, we had Pete Peterson and the Mike and the golf people got together, and we had 50 volunteers got together and cleaned up the championship golf course. That is just awesome to have that type of volunteerism and support for our community and everybody working together. That's what community is all about, people stepping up and volunteering for the greater good. And I want to thank all the volunteers and everybody that have done that this past week. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.